Well, hello there. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Kim Barefoot in the Kitchen, where we cook real good food for real good people in my real small kitchen. This is my fake cooking show, but today we are going to cook real cookies. Today we are making brownie sandwich cookies with peanut butter frosting in the middle. Brownies and peanut butter always go so well together. My favorite chocolate bar is Reese's peanut butter cups. Chocolate and peanut butter. Wow, so good. Another good recipe to try if you love chocolate and peanut butter is my monster cookies. Wow, those cookies are fabulous. They're peanut buttery and there's chocolate and M&Ms and they're just fabulously good. Tasty, tasty. Anyway, we're going to give our hand at a new recipe today. So let's get going. The first thing I'm going to do is to read you the list of ingredients, which is up here. And then you can assemble the ingredients. And once you've got them all together, then come back and you can cook with me. I'll cook with you and we will have fun. It is a rainy afternoon here in Thailand and I'm so happy to have the rain. The farmers are happy too because it's time to plant the rice again. And I see some of the fields have already got some new rice seedlings in them and they look so beautiful. Okay, here's your list of ingredients. 1 cup of chocolate chips, and make sure they're dairy-free if you're doing this recipe vegan. 1/3 cup of vegetable or coconut oil. I'm using coconut oil. 1 teaspoon of instant coffee, and this is totally optional, but gives a nice little taste. 2 large eggs or your egg substitute. Make sure that your eggs, if you're using them, make sure that they're at room temperature. 3/4 cup of sugar, and that's cane sugar or coconut sugar. Either one is fine. 1 teaspoon of vanilla. 1/4 cup of cocoa powder. Dutch process if you can get it. It's the best one to cook with. It gives a deeper, richer chocolate flavor. And we are using chocolate chips and cocoa. And we want both types of chocolate because each of them has a different taste and they do make for a better brownie, and in this case, a better brownie cookie. 3/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons of flour. And if you're cooking gluten-free, just make sure you've got your gluten-free flour on hand. 1/2 teaspoon baking powder and 1/2 teaspoon salt. Okay, that's for the cookies. Now, for the peanut butter frosting that we're going to put in between the cookies, we want 3 tablespoons of plant-based butter, or butter if you're not vegan, if you're cooking just normal. 3 tablespoons of peanut butter, and we want that to be room temperature. 1/4 teaspoon vanilla. 1 cup of icing sugar, and 2 to 4 teaspoons of plant-based milk. So that's the ingredients that you want to assemble for the cookie recipe. So the first thing that you want to do is melt your 1 cup of chocolate chips with the 1/3 cup of vegetable oil or coconut oil and 1 teaspoon of instant coffee if you're using the coffee. And if you're microwaving it, make sure that it's just at 30-second intervals. Chocolate chips or any kind of chocolate in a bar melts super fast because it has a high fat content. And I've learned the hard way in the past that they burn super fast in the microwave. I don't have a microwave, so what I've done is I've just used a bowl of hot water, put my ingredients in another bowl, set it in that bowl of hot water, and then be very patient while it melts together. Okay, so mine is all melted. So we want to have that done. Now in our main bowl here, we're going to crack our 2 eggs that you have assured are room temperature. Next, we're going to add 3/4 of a cup of sugar, which means I'm going to measure out 3 1/4 cup measures. And scoop and level, right? There's 1, here's 2. I'm not going to fight with this sugar today. We're going to do it the proper way, which is to scoop and then level. I really should be teaching you guys the proper way to do things. There's 2 and 3. And next comes the hard part if you don't have an electric mixer like me. I don't have an electric mixer, and so I'm going to have to whisk the eggs and sugar together by hand. And the recipe calls for 5 minutes of beating. Yeah. My arm is going to be sore. So what you want in the end is to have the egg and the sugar to be nice and fluffy and pale, okay? So if you've got your electric mixer, go ahead and give it a go. If you don't, you can join me in whisking these together by hand for 5 minutes. How did you guys do? Did any of you do this by hand? I tell you, I don't have to do push-ups tonight, that's for sure. But they're looking nice and thick, really pale. I'd say they're fluffy, and I'd say that my arms are tired and that's all I can do. Okay, hopefully it was enough. Now we're going to add our vanilla, and it was 1 teaspoon of vanilla. There we go. 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Good. Give it another mix. Now we are ready to add our chocolate mixture to the egg mixture. And this chocolate mixture smells really good, doesn't it? Awesome. Okay. Nice. In it goes. And we're going to mix this in until it's combined. My favorite part of baking has always been to lick the spoons. And you know, there's something nice about not using an electric mixer, I tell myself, and not just to make myself feel better that I don't have an electric mixer, but you really get to feel, you get a feel for the batters and the creaminess, the different textures, and to me, it's part of the baking experience. Like those eggs were really light and fluffy, right? The egg and the sugar. And then you add the heaviness of the chocolate mixture, and it's just altogether different again. Okay, now we're ready to mix our dry ingredients together, and then we're going to put them in with our wet batter. So for this, we wanted 1/4 cup of cocoa powder. Dutch process, right, if you've got it. powder is really amazing how light it is. So scoop it in and then level it off. And yeah, that goes in our dry ingredients here. We grow cocoa here in Thailand. And oftentimes if you go somewhere and you order a drink that's got any sort of cocoa in it, you want a cafe mocha or a hot or cold cocoa. They drink cold cocoa here because it's so hot all the time. Oftentimes you'll get the organic cocoa that is grown right here, and it's delicious. You can eat the inside of the cocoa pod without it being roasted, and it also is very sweet. It's really good. I've tried it. Okay, here we go. We want 3/4 of a cup plus 2 tablespoons of flour. All of these quarter cups. And I should have cleaned my spoon before I dipped it into the flour. One. Two, scoop and level. 3. There we go. So that's 3/4 of a cup. Plus 2 tablespoons. And here's my tablespoon. 1, 2. There we go. And then we've got a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder and 1/2 teaspoon of salt that's going in there too. And then give it a stir. Give it a stir. And then we're going to add it to our rat mixture here, our egg mixture, the egg and chocolate. Good stuff. And then we're going to stir just until it's mixed up. Just until it's mixed in. And then we're going to let it sit for 30 minutes because we want it to really firm up so that we can make the cookie sandwich patties with it. And right now it's definitely not firm enough to do that. But we're going to be busy while it's firming up on its own. We're going to make the peanut butter frosting that's going to go in between these. Wow. While our cookie batter is firming up. And I'm just going to give a read of the ingredients to make sure we didn't miss anything, as I sometimes do. 1 cup of chocolate chips, dairy-free if that's your thing. 1/3 cup of vegetable or coconut oil. 1 teaspoon of instant coffee, that is optional. 2 large eggs that are room temperature. 3/4 cup sugar, and that's coconut sugar or cane sugar is fine too. 1 teaspoon of vanilla. 1/4 cup cocoa powder, Dutch process if you've got it. 3/4 cup plus 2 tablespoons flour, gluten-free flour if you're like me and you need to be cooking gluten-free. 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder and 1/2 teaspoon salt. And we have it all. Now this is going to sit for 30 minutes. If you're cooking gluten-free and after 30 minutes you see that it's not thick enough to form a ball, go ahead and add some more flour to it at that point. We're ready now to make our frosting. So to start, we need 3 tablespoons of plant-based butter, or regular butter if dairy is not an issue for you. I'm using Nuttelex. Alexa's a good substitute. I quite like it. So there's one. And you don't necessarily need this big of a bowl. I only have 2 mixing bowls. So that's why I'm using this one. And you know, this big cooking show is to remind you that you don't need fancy equipment to turn out some amazing things in your kitchen. I watch some cooking shows and I'm really excited that they have like KitchenAid mixers and really nice equipment. But if you don't have it, I mean, if you have it, that's great. I'm happy for you too. But if you don't have it, that's okay. You can still do some amazing things with what you've got already in your kitchen. Now we need 3 tablespoons of peanut butter. Room temperature, otherwise it's pretty hard to work with. One. My goodness, I do love peanut butter. A little bit too much. 2. After a run, there's many things I enjoy after a run, but one of them is a peanut butter and banana smoothie. Oh, wow. That just hits the spot. Frozen bananas with some vanilla almond milk. Oh boy, it's good. Good hit of protein for you. And then we're going to whisk that together with a 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. Okay, so we've got our peanut butter, our plant butter, and vanilla in the bowl, and let's whisk it together. Oh, it smells so good. Yummy. So whisk it together until it's nice and smooth and shiny. Okay, let's add our 1 cup of icing sugar. And again, if it's super humid where you are, you might have to add more. It is a very humid day here today. Had a lot of rain and now the sun is out, drying up everything, but making everything super, super humid. And whisk that together. Now we can add 2 to 4 teaspoons of milk, plant-based milk if we don't do dairy. I've got some vanilla almond milk that I'm going to add to mine if I think it needs it. But you want this to be fairly thick, right? Because it's got to sit in between your cookies. It's the middle of your sandwich. And you don't want it to be oozing out all over the plate. And I kind of think that mine does not need any milk to thin it down. I think it's just great the way it is. It's about what mine looks like, and it's just fine. I want to taste it and make sure that it tastes okay. Wow, these cookies are going to be pretty amazing. Now let's see if our cookie batter is firm enough to hand form the cookie sandwich pieces. Okay, are you still with me? We are ready to go on to the next step, and that is to bake our cookie sandwich pieces. Now, I have done a test batch, okay, and then we are going to, these are going to be amazing. Put the peanut butter in between and it's going to be this amazing brownie peanut butter sandwich. Now your batter should be nice and thick, like it won't fall off the spoon thick. It is very humid today here, as I said earlier, and because it's so humid and because I'm using gluten-free flour, which bakes differently than the regular flour, and it was a different gluten-free mix than I usually use, I had to add an extra cup of flour. So if your cookie dough is not looking nice and thick, like it won't fall off the spoon easy, go ahead and add a little bit of extra flour. Hopefully you don't need to. And I have a little dish of water here because these cookies are easier to shape when your fingers are wet. Otherwise it'll really stick to your fingers. And I have parchment paper lined baking sheet here. And these will spread out a little bit, and you want to form them so that they're looking like a cookie, right? So they're fairly round and uniform. There we go. Mine might be a little bit extra sticky too because I'm working with gluten-free flour. But I have high hopes for these cookies. I think they're going to be amazing. And we're going to cook these in the oven, 350 degrees for 5 minutes. I did my test batch and it was 5 minutes. It doesn't seem like much, but there's a lot of fat in these cookies. They are fattening too. So you don't need to cook them for very long. And you want them to still be nice and soft, right? You don't want a hard, crunchy brownie cookie. That would be terrible. It's ready here. Are you guys excited? I'm sure excited for these cookies. Something new. I'm always excited about something new, especially if something new turns out. It doesn't always work that way. Okay, these are reasonably uniform. That's how they look, and that's how they're going into the oven at 350 degrees for 5 minutes. Okay, we're ready to assemble our cookies. So you've got your 2 cookie pieces. We're going to assemble them with the side that was down on the cookie sheet. That's going to go on the inside because I don't think it's as pretty as this nice outside. So if you've got a proper piping bag, go ahead and use that. I don't. So I'm going to put my peanut butter frosting into this plastic bag, and I'm going to cut off the tip, and that's what I'm going to use. Ooh, I cut the hole pretty big. That's okay. I'm going to just swirl it there so that it reaches the edges. There we go. Wow. How exciting is that? That is a thing of beauty. Doesn't that look amazing? Wow. Are you guys excited to try? Ideally, these should go in the fridge for I don't know, 20 minutes, a half hour, maybe 15 if you were really jumping the gun, so that they're nice and cold, because that frosting, if it's cold in the middle, will taste even better. But I'm going to give this a try right now because then I need to go out for a run. These cookies have got 217 calories in them, and so I'm going to eat one of these with great satisfaction, and then I'm going to go for a run.
and run it off.
Okay, let's try it. Is it any good? Mmm. 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 Wow. That is so good. Mm-mm-mm. They're very, very rich. You only need one, or I only need one. But these are going to be amazing to give away to friends and see their reaction when they eat them. They're nice and chocolatey, and then the peanut butter in the middle has just got such a great flavor to it. They should be chilled, as I said, before you eat them. But if you're like me, you can't wait. So enjoy, friends. I hope that everything is going well for you. Oh, I miss you. I miss you all very, very much. I'm looking forward to coming back and having a visit, a long visit this time. And I can give you all a big hug and a kiss, and we can chat and have coffee and just catch up. But in the meantime, please take care. Send me an email if you want to chat, or just send me an email. I don't hear from everybody. I hear from some of you, and I just love your messages. I love your emails. They make me so happy. And I especially love it when my friends make the recipes and then they send me pictures of what they make, or they send me pictures of them eating it, or the process of making it. And I cannot tell you how happy that makes me to think that I have encouraged somebody to make something good or something tasty, something fun, that I'm inspiring you to do something different. That makes me just so, so happy. So this is me signing off for now. This isn't the last time. This is just see you later for now, and I'll catch you in the next cooking class.